Not volitional, no.
Non-volitional object? No, that means something different. That's what I call how men treat women in traditional societies. Men treat women like non-volitional objects, not like people. Like they can't make choices.
Yeah.
Like a trophy wife. You know that expression, trophy wife?
What is trophy wife?
A wife that's treated as a trophy. Like she's good looking and wears fancy clothing and
Nice for that.
yes, and so she looks good in public with her husband, and her husband basically uses her to brag, like, look how hot my wife is.
I love this one.
Yeah? You want a trophy wife?
Definitely want this.
Yeah.
And wise.
And wise.
And wise. Like if wise, it's trophy wife. Not trophy, but trophy wife?
Trophy wife. Yeah.
Yeah, a wise trophy wife. I definitely love it.
If she were wise, do you think she'd want to be treated as a trophy?
Yes, there's some.
Okay.
I met some in church. Yeah.
Okay.
There's wise and trophy. Yeah. Like Viking nerd.
Okay. Because the whole point of being a trophy wife is that you're an object.
Yeah.
Or at best like an animal. You know, like a pet.
So half of the trophy wife, like nice, sexy. My husband is my king, and at the same time, she is the queen for the husband.
Then she's not a trophy wife.
Five.
Then it's just two mature, healthy individuals honoring each other. It removes the trophy aspect. The trophy puts her in a lower status than him because she exists to serve him. Why do you think men don't like smart, ambitious, opinionated women?
What?
Why do you think men don't like smart, ambitious, opinionated women?
Because they don't. Because
They can't get much more.
control.
They want to control everything. What is the person who wants to control everything?
A dictator? A Hitler? Or a god?
Okay, so like how is controlling each other?
Okay, if I wanted to control you physically, what would I have to do?
Like don't let me to do first touch me without the permission.
Yeah. Okay.
And force me to do
Yeah.
something that I don't want to. Sometimes I want to run and then fire it and ask you like, can you think me and someone say to me so and it's pushing me in a direction where the body's to it. And coming down and you are touching me and pushing me in a direction that I don't want. Okay.
Okay. So, if I'm bigger and stronger than you, it'd probably be pretty easy for me to physically overpower you, right? Like hold you down or force you to do something you don't want to do physically, right? Or maybe I just have some rope and I can tie you up or something, or I can put you in a metal cage that you can't escape from, right? Those would all be ways of physically controlling you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what if instead of physically controlling you, I just controlled you mentally? What would that look like? I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with the middle word in this phrase, non-volitional object.
Yeah. What is the question?
I wanted to control you mentally instead of physically because I just, I'm much too busy to keep you tied up all the time and constantly physically manipulating you and forcing you to do things. Like I don't have time for that. I'm a busy guy. So what if instead I can control you mentally instead of physically? How would I do that?
First, she shouldn't be independent.
What does that mean?
Like,
Define your term, semantic precision.
independence person for me is a person that can he or she has money, so money give him or her opportunity to.
You don't have a lot of money, right?
No, but enough money for you to decide what to do, what to.
Money is a tool. What does money do?
Then it lets you to do something that you need to live your lifestyle. For example, if I don't have money or I don't know how to make money, like I can have money, but the money is from my husband. So I have the money, but I cannot control it forever.
We can
I
earn.
can make money. So until I am alive, I can make money because I know how to make money. So when I know how to make money, I can ask for divorce. I can go through the struggle that I want to. I can buy the dress that I want to buy from here. And when we are disagree,
We disagree.
when we disagree, I can do something that I want to, because we need just a little money, not 10,000. I'm thinking maybe in California 10,000 is doesn't have to live like a normal.
Money is a convenient tool for doing something, but what's the something you're talking about? Safa, if I wanted to control you mentally, what should I do? Adej, if I wanted to control you mentally, what should I do?
So it's kind of manipulation and to be overconfident and try to decrease the value of the person.
Interesting response. Okay, I think she's the closest so far.
What if
What does it mean to control someone mentally?
like you are independent to me,
Dependent of me.
independent of me. So you feel like I cannot live without him or there. So mentally, after this feeling, I feel like I shouldn't let him to control me because I don't know how I feel. Like without him, I cannot live it. So there.
Maybe it's about need. When you need somebody and you wanna use.
Telling him.
I don't know.
You're all kind of describing the same thing, but you're circling around it, like you're getting closer to it, but you're afraid to say it. Right? Physically, it's easy because you can see it. I want to control you physically. I just need to physically manipulate your body, right? Either by restraining you in some way with a cage or a rope, or with my own physical strength, right? Or forcefully moving you in a way you don't want to move, to do something you don't want to do, right? That's easy. It's visible, right? But you can't see what's going on in someone's mind. You can only see the effects of it. So it's harder. You're kind of vaguely describing it, but you're not really getting to it. What does this mean? Non-volitional object.
I forgot it.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Most things in the universe are non-volitional objects. The overwhelming majority of them are non-volitional objects. 99.99999 repeating percent are non-volitional objects. Point anywhere in the room and you will probably be pointing at a non-volitional object. What is volition? Seems like an important part of that term.
I'm cheating. Why could you do it?
I will do the same when it's
Lady?
Volition is the ability to choose.
Yes.
The ability to choose. What does that mean, to choose? Describe what happens when you make a choice.
Fun.
You've all made choices before, right? Once or twice in your lives?
Yeah.
You all chose to come here. What was that like?
Like it was two options, come or not come. And so between two or more than two options, when you can't decide, choose between two or more than two options, the ability that you have is volition.
Okay. If I roll a ball down a hill,
What?
if I roll a ball down a hill, does the ball have any choice in the matter? No, the ball will simply roll down the hill unless something else happens to it that prevents it from happening,
Okay.
right? Like something gets in its way, right? Otherwise, it will just go.
Yeah.
But if you're a person, you can choose to walk down the hill. You can choose not to walk down the hill. You can choose to go somewhere else. You can choose
Because
to do
we
many different things, right? Okay. The ball can't do that, but you can. Why?
Because of the ability we have, one has this power to choose.
I am the physical master of this cat. He's my slave right now. I am completely physically manipulating him. He can't move without my permission.
But he told me that
So, you have something that a bull does not have, at least I think you do, a brain. And with that brain comes a mind. What does a mind do?
Controlling, choosing.
How? What it was like?
processing the I can't altogether and anyway I know what to say to it. I don't know.
It's like a say. It's unlimited to think and choose.
Thinking. Thinking is the word we're looking for. A mind can think. And what is it doing when it's thinking? What is thinking?
Oh my god.
You've been thinking your whole life. You've never thought about thinking? You've never made a choice about choosing?
That's interesting question.
You've never emoted about emotions?
Yeah. Okay. Thinking is about thinking.
Oh, well, that clears things up. Thank you. My cat looks like a cat. In case you were confused, it's the one that looks like a cat.
Thinking. Oh, though we can think. Imagine? No, it's different.
Well, thinking always, to some degree, involves imagining, right? Because your thoughts don't actually exist in a tangible, physical sense, right? Observing is about what's tangible, what's real. I'm observing this cat on me. I'm observing the table. I'm observing all of you, right? I'm seeing with my senses, right? When you think, you're creating a representation of things you observe. A representation of reality. And you're manipulating that. And you're imagining, you're projecting what qualities might apply to that. What will you do tomorrow? Right now you're imagining, right?
Yes.
You're thinking about this idea of tomorrow. What is that? Where did that come from?
Blind, you're correct.
That's what your mind does. It's very good at that, right? It seems to have evolved for that purpose. It helps you simulate reality so that you can make good choices. You imagine different states of reality, either realistically or unrealistically, because you don't have to be good at thinking, right? Most people aren't actually very good at thinking. And you make choices based off of how you interpret those imaginings of reality. And it happens so quickly you hardly even notice what you're doing, right? It's just obvious. It's like, well, yeah, I chose that because I wanted that one. If you ask me right now, Gregory, do you want a cup of coffee or a cup of tea? There's a very fast process is going to happen in my brain where I remember what those things are, right? Because I have experience with both of those things. There's a category in my brain called coffee and a category in my brain called tea, and I have certain associations with each of those, positive or negative, right? Or I might ask for more clarification. Well, what kind of coffee? Espresso, macchiato, americano, latte, affogato. I don't know. All those are the coffee terms, right? So I can subdivide the category into finer and finer categories because maybe I have very positive associations with some and very negative with others, right? Black tea, green tea, white tea, you know. But sooner or later, I'm going to commit to one of those ideas, this imagination I have about this concept called coffee or whatever it is, right? And with coffee, it's very easy to do because I've had many cups of coffee in my life, and particularly if I know the circumstances under which the coffee is being made, such as the beans in my own house versus an unfamiliar coffee shop where I've never tried their coffee before. Maybe they suck at making coffee, maybe they have shitty quality beans. So still my prediction, my imagination about reality can end up being wrong. It could end up being a shitty cup of coffee when I thought it was going to be a good cup of coffee, right? But every time you make a choice, whether from something very superficial to something very important, like should I go to college, should I marry this person, should I move halfway around the world, you're doing the exact same thing, right? You're always just imagining states of reality, which may or may not be accurate. A ball can't do that, right? Mm-hmm. And then you commit to a choice based off of what you perceive serves your interests best, which will bring you the highest state of satisfaction, and that's different for every person too. What brings you satisfaction is different than what brings me satisfaction.
What is satisfaction?
Satisfying satisfaction.
I can't get no.
Chicken?
No.
That's right.
Oh, me. So in this case, how can we control somebody?
How can we?
How can we control somebody emotionally?
You limit their ability to make choices. That's how you control someone mentally. You limit their ability to make choices.
You should live here, you should do just that. Don't go.
All the stuff you guys were describing were like applications of that, right? Like you were getting closer to it. You were right, you just weren't getting straight to the point, right? Everything you described about mentally controlling someone, same thing with what Nadesh said, those are all applications of limiting someone's ability to make choices. Like maybe if someone is chronically afraid, like they're traumatized in some way, right? Would that limit their ability to make choices? If someone is traumatized in some way, like chronically afraid of something, understand the words I'm saying to you? Mm-hmm. Yes. Would that limit their ability to make choices? To imagine states of reality and attempt to achieve one of them. That's what a choice is. To imagine states of reality and attempt to achieve one.
So you are saying we can through the mind is a person who has like emotionally controlled by their husband or the society, like family also.
Mentally controlled, which can include intellectual and emotional. Both of those are aspects of the mind, right?
Mm.
Like if I didn't give you very much education or lied to you about, if I miseducated you, like about sex, for instance, that's a huge subject of miseducation. Most people in most developing countries have very little idea about what sex is and how it works. Might that limit your ability to make choices regarding sex? And even ignoring the emotional trauma associated with sex, if I simply lied to you about what sex is and how it works, you would not be as capable of making choices about sex, right? If you didn't understand how it worked, right? So that might be one way I could mentally control you. And that's not even emotional, that's just intellectual.
When you have like work, when you're going to company and work, you have commitment?
Commitment? Like a contract with a company that hires you?
Yes.
Okay.
You have lots of limits you shouldn't do that. And it's like a married baby over commitment to guy or woman. It's like control thing, I think.
Well, it depends. If you make a commitment to a job, did you do that with an accurate conception of what the job was and what you were committing to? And you were imagining that job when you made the choice. Was your imagination accurate? Or were you misinformed in some way? Like, did they lie to you about what the job was going to be like? When I chose to move to Kalavan village and buy this house and invest my time and money and other resources here, I did so because of an imagination, an idea that the people promoting Kalavan deliberately gave me to convince me to do that, to get me to spend my money here. Right? Mm-hmm. And that idea, that imagination, was not accurate to reality. I made a choice based on bad information, inaccurate information. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're meant to, right?
If I start dating you, and for 1 year I treat you wonderfully like a princess, or whatever your ideal relationship would be, and then I say, honey, we should get married and I'll keep treating you like a princess for the rest of our lives, and you say, okay. And then the day after we get married, I start treating you like shit. Did I manipulate you?
Did I what?
Did I manipulate you?
Manipulate?
Yes. If the day after we get married, I start treating you completely differently than how I did for 1 year before we got married.
One accepting.
Okay.
Yes? No?
Yes.
Why? How?
Because you behavior different?
Because I formed an expectation in your mind about what the future would be like, based, even if I didn't explicitly say so, although I probably did. I probably said, I'll treat you like a princess forever, right? But even if I didn't explicitly promise that, repetitive action sets expectation. You know why? Because the vast majority of the agreements we make with each other are not explicit. We do not say them out loud because we don't think we need to. Right now, if I threw this cup at Amir's head, would Amir be surprised by that? Why? I never said I wouldn't throw a cup at his head. I never made that agreement with him. Why should he be surprised by that? I never promised, I never made any kind of agreement with him that I wouldn't throw a cup at his head. So why would he be surprised by that? Amir?
So now I can understand why shifting is.
Yes! Oh my God, we had a breakthrough.
Great.
Can you provide some context, please? You didn't think that cheating existed before, or like it wasn't a real thing?
Yes. Like, now I get it. I understood what you mean. Like, you didn't have this agreement, like, you don't show something to me. True.
Yes.
But in general, like, we don't need this agreement. Like, we need, but we are like, we know each other as a civilized people who don't do that in general.
Right.
So if you do that, I will surprised that, oh my God, he is not a civilized person. He is a wild person who.
When I first moved in here to Kalavan village, and my neighbors kept coming in my house without knocking or asking permission, or kept stealing my tools without asking me, or lying to me about the price of various things, I was surprised and hurt and offended and felt that I had been cheated. Why? We had different expectations, right? Mm-hmm. Their expectations are that there is no reason to respect another person's privacy or property or be honest with them about money or anything like that, right? And that's probably how they treat each other most of the time, right?
Yes.
So I was surprised because I was expecting a certain level of respect that did not exist here. right? Another word for that is culture shock, right? So I had to start explicitly and deliberately changing the agreements. I had to start training them and telling them over and over again, several dozen times, when you come to my house, ring the doorbell and knock on the door. Do not interrupt my privacy. Ask me before you take things that belong to me. Right? I have to start changing those agreements, changing their expectations to match mine. Otherwise, don't interact with me. Leave me the fuck alone if you cannot do so according to the terms that I am setting. These are the rules if you want to interact with me. If you can't do that, fuck off, basically. And several of them did fuck off, thankfully. Others adapted. They evolved based on setting new explicit agreements that I at first naively assumed I wouldn't have to do, because you just expect certain civilized behavior from the vast majority of mature adults, right?
So we are discussing about the definition of the vision ourselves, like everybody in the world, like
Yeah. Nowhere on the Kalavan.net website do I have a rule saying do not throw cups at each other's heads when you come, right? Because again, that's covered in something like mutual respect, which I do have on the website. That's one value listed there, mutual respect. See, I shouldn't have to explicitly say that throwing a cup at someone's head is an example of not respecting someone else, right? It should be covered by that, right? If you're, again, an intelligent and mature human being. If you're with a child or something, we might have some different allowances. If a 6-year-old throws something at me because he's mad or he's playing around, I won't say, get the fuck out of my house. I'll say, hey, buddy, please don't do that. People don't like when you do that, because you don't expect a 6-year-old to know all the same things you expect a mature, intelligent adult to, right?
yeah.
Or you hopefully would expect his parents to do that, because it's not my job to raise your fucking kid, right?
Nice.
So now do you understand what I mean when I call a trophy wife a non-volitional object?
Okay.
So are there Armenian women or trophy wife?
A lot of them are, yeah. That's the general expectation. That's their ideal of being a good wife, essentially. To have a lot of children, to keep a clean house, and to look nice in public.
If we have any country that in that country the husbands are trophy husbands,
There are boy toys, but that's a little bit different.
yeah.
What is boy toys?
It's usually like with a younger, fit, handsome man that kind of like a male prostitute, you know, and it's usually like probably a cougar, like an older woman, a sugar mama says, yeah, I got this hot young guy to fuck me, or I don't know what these people think, but it's weird, frankly. I mean, no offense to any such women if you're watching this, but there's a reason it's much more common for men to treat women that way than for women to treat men that way. We expect more from women, basically. Like, even I can understand the primal instinct to treat a woman like just a sexy object to fuck and to serve me. Like, there's something very primitive but appealing about that, right? It's like hedonism, basically. It's like the same part of me that wants to have a heroin overdose. Like, yeah, that'd be fun. Why not? Right? But as soon as my higher cognitive capacity kicks in, I think, oh, actually, no, that's probably not a good idea, right? In the same way, that's how I feel about treating women like sexy objects, basically. Like, oh, yeah, I can see the appeal, but actually, no, that's probably not a good idea. But for a woman to treat a man like that, it's almost like it's demeaning to the woman. Like, you expect more from her than to reduce a man to that. You see what I mean?
Yeah.